All right, it's time now for Focus. And a day after Marine Le Pen officially launched her presidential campaign with an attack on globalization and radical Islam, we're taking a look at the electorate of her National Front. The far-right party that Le Pen has tried to de-demonize since taking over from her father 6 years ago has a lot of support among the working class, mainly in northern France, and pensioners in the southeast. Jonathan Walsh and Claire Williams report.
It's market day in Lyon in northern France. Hortense de Mireille is campaigning for the National Front. A regional councillor since 2015, she now wants to become a member of parliament.
Do you want our leaflet?
You can keep it.
So you do know how many workers are on our side now?
Well, not me. I'm working class, and working class should vote to the left. Nobody stands up for us like they used to.
A quarter of the town's 6,000 residents is unemployed.
Bonjour.
Companies no longer hire. It's a life of temporary work. Longer-term contracts are gone.
Once left-leaning, voting preferences are changing here. 1 in 2 residents plans to vote for the National Front. André has just signed up.
For pensioners, for work, for employment, and also to protect our social security.
I'm against this system where people depend on state handouts. I want people to depend on their own work, but most people here have forgotten the value of hard work because jobs are nowhere to be found.
In a coal mining region hit hard by deindustrialization, the National Front is going from strength to strength. In 2014, the left-wing mayor of Hénin-Beaumont lost to the National Front's candidate. The grandson of a miner, he was elected with 53% of votes in the first round.
Social matters, the economy, the dangers of globalization. Since 2007, Marine Le Pen has been the only one talking about these topics. So it was logical for her to play a political role in this region. Because here is probably the French region that's the worst affected by globalization.
But the National Front is made up of 2 different fronts, one in the north and one in the south, according to this expert.
Here in the north, our electorate is largely working class compared to the more middle-class, professional and pensioner population in the south of France. The glue that holds everything together is still on the same theme, immigration. Marine Le Pen's main feat is her capacity to talk about jobs and social issues in a way that's very similar to the far left, but that for many sounds more credible because she talks about national preference.
In the southern French town Fréjus, David Racheline can make the ground shake. Over 100 activists, mostly pensioners, have come to see their mayor. At only 29 years old, he's also Marine Le Pen's campaign director, and his speeches have a central theme: immigration.
Et qu'elle donc s'est vidée avec les moyens qu'on a donnés aux migrants. Moi, j'aurais aimé qu'on utilise ces moyens pour aider notre peuple, qui lui aussi souffre beaucoup.
Security is another focus. The party's popularity is growing in the police force. Half of all officers say they would consider voting for Marine Le Pen. Last year, David Racheline marched alongside protesting police officers in his region, the Var.
We wanted them to know that we're on their side, that we believe their claims are legitimate, that we agree that they should be presumed innocent when they have to resort to self-defense, and that we agree when they demand more resources to get their job done.
Gilles, a police officer, has always voted National Front, but in 2013 he signed up to help with the party's regional administration, motivated, he says, by the birth of his children.
We want to live in a peaceful environment, not to be afraid out in the streets, a place where children can safely walk to school.
The Var region is traditionally a National Front stronghold. Since she took over from her father, Marine Le Pen has tried to detoxify the image of her party.
People here were already voting for the National Front, but until recently they'd kept a low profile. But now that they know half of the people vote for the National Front, whether it's the butcher or the baker, they're reassured and don't have to hide.
Right-wing voters in the south are increasingly tempted to shift further to the right. Jérôme Rivière was an MP for the right-wing UMP party, now called the Républicains, but he switched.
Most people that have strong ideas for strong love for France, its identity and its capability to remain over the years, will vote for Marine Le Pen, and I believe she will win in next May.
Northerners, Southerners, they may have their differences, but as long as more voters get on board, any divisions are unlikely to cause a split. Opinion polls show Marine Le Pen will easily make it through the first round of the presidential election.
Yes, opinion polls do suggest that Marine Le Pen will win the first round, but it's important to note that they also suggest she'll lose the second. Joining me now, François Chardon, a communication expert. Hello, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now, I'd like to start off by talking about this whole de-demonization process, because, of course, Marine Le Pen took over the National Front Party from her father, Jean-Marie Le Pen, who's a convicted Holocaust denier, and he really would always kind of cause quite a stir. She's tried to be more mainstream and give her party a cleaner image, if you like. How did Marine Le Pen manage to soften the party's toxic image?
I think it was a clear strategy from the start that she chose when she hired as an advisor, as almost number two in the party, Mr. Philippot, who came from the left sovereign party, Mouvement républicain et citoyen of Mr. Chevènement. And she has managed to transform the image of the party, to normalize it, especially by endorsing a vision of secularism, which is a key theme for her since 2011 when she took over. And that's something that she's trying to portray her candidacy within the framework of the classic republicanism. And the curious thing is that at the same time she has managed to keep the clientele of the voters of her father.
But she's dropped the name Le Pen. Her posters say Marine Présidente.
Yeah.
Is that, do you think, part of a real effort to make the party less frightening and to distance herself from her father?
Indeed, I think there's a lot of that in even the choice of the symbol with a blue rose. That is supposedly referring to something that has never been seen before, and she wants to show that she could be a surprise for this election. And she insists on her femininity, for instance, which is also supposedly reassuring. And for instance, in her ad for the campaign that she released over the weekend, you can see that she uses being a woman to say that she is really angered by the problems of women faced with the rise of Islamist extremism in France.
Since you mentioned gender, does she have equal support amongst men and women?
No, the basis of voters remains the majority remains masculine. But she has gained a bit for the regional elections, for instance. She gained a bit of women's vote, but that's the majority remains a male vote.
And I was going to talk about this later, but you mentioned the regional election. In 2015, we saw a big change between the first and the second round. In the first round, it looked like the National Front was going to get almost half of France's regions. In the end, they got nil. Do you think there's a chance that the same thing will happen with the presidential election, as in Marine Le Pen will do very well in the first round and then be defeated by whoever it is that she's up against in the second?
I think a strategy of demonization aims at breaking this glass ceiling for her that makes voters express their anger in the first round and then get back on their feet and reflect on the dangers of certain edges in our program, for instance, in the economy. I think. So
you think it's still very much a protest vote when you vote for the National Front?
I think so. I think there's the notion of the fear of migrants first and foremost, and which makes a parallel with the Brexit vote. The same motivation, the idea of regaining control on the borders, but at the same time there's the rejection of the so-called system, the established party. And the fact, for instance, that Macron is presenting himself as neither from the left or the right doesn't help, because in a sense that she can caricature his candidacy as a symbol of this system, saying that he is the candidate of what she calls UMPS, both names of the main political party.
But he says he's anti-establishment as well. Just a quick word on François Fillon. Because of his woes today, we're expecting him to defend what he's accused of. Well, we don't know if he's going to withdraw from the race. That's certainly not what we're expecting. How has Marine Le Pen benefited from his legal troubles, even though she herself isn't exactly clean when it comes to misusing public funds?
Yes, it's as you point out, there's an ongoing investigation that concerns her, but it seems to not to affect her in any way. That's one of her strengths, probably in part because our electoral base is so solid, and also because she never placed honesty at the center of our campaign. She's more about regaining sovereignty and control. It's almost the tagline for the Leave campaign: take back control. So in that sense, I think the demise of François Fillon is a tremendous opportunity for her, and she seems to play the Macron card.
All right, well, we've got 2.5 months to go before the first round. Thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
For coming in, François Chardon, and thank you for watching. Quick break, I'll be right back.